Something's gotta change, and I say all that I need to say.
Todd Sharpville je gitarista koji dolazi sa svojim bendom, radi sa Britancima koji će nam prikazati malo šta se dešava danas sa britanskim bluzom. Od onog početka kad je to radio Joan Mayall, Blues Breakers i Cream, Eric Clapton, da vidimo šta se to desilo u tom evolutivnom smislu, znači gdje je to danas otišlo i šta se dešava s obzirom da su Britanija i Amerika znači, nosile tu blues priču cijelog svijeta. Biće vrlo interesantno, radi se o odličnom gitaristi i uvijek je posebno čuti taj britanski štih, taj clean, njihov takozvani gitarski u blues aranžmanima.
It was my birthday and my dad took me to the record store and I was looking for a blues thing and I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know anything about the blues and I went to the blues section and my dad said, you can have a birthday present, have this record. And I stopped on this big sweating black guy pouring over a Gibson 345. And it was a Freddie King record. And he just looked like what I was looking for. And on the back there was a quote from Eric Clapton about him and I'd heard of Eric Clapton at the time. So I took it home and I'd always wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid. And my parents thought I was going to be a doctor. And then 12 years old, I put this record on and the first song kind of did this to me and then the second song, and by the middle of, there was a slow blues on the third song, and the middle of the guitar solo, I had like a Road to Damascus moment. It's like, oh, I want to play guitar and I want to play like that, and the doctor thing, you know. I ran up to tell my parents excitedly and they were, what? You want to be a blues man? So it was that. So from the age of 12, I've always known that this was me.
Someone's hand to lead me through the night.
I, for some reason, surrounded myself with musicians, the old school guys. There were many of them in London. Many of them were very dysfunctional as people, but they did big things back in the 60s and the 70s. And it was probably the dysfunctionality as people that stopped them doing big things in the 80s and the 90s. Which left them open to be working with guys like me. I had Alex Mahovsky on bass, who's John Mayall and Frank Zappa's old bass player. So I always had players who had more experience and were probably better than me, surrounding me through all the little bar bands that I had while I was building things bit by bit. And I kind of just over a long period of time started to gravitate to clubs and bigger stages and doing festivals. And there was an agent in the 90s who used to hook me up with putting together backing bands for visiting American artists when they wanted to do things a little bit more cheaply and use an on-the-ground band. And so I was working with Ike Turner and Hubert Sumlin and guys like that at the same time while I was building things up. And I guess I accidentally established my own style, my own sound, my own approach to doing things. Which luckily there's been many other artists in other fields who will ask me to work with them in one capacity or another, and it's always as me, which is the only way I can do things. To be honest, I've avoided Britain quite over the years. Most of my work's always been abroad. There's a few gigs in the UK I'll do every year, and I'm headlining the Carlisle Festival this year, and I did headline Maryport last year. But it's a cottage industry. It's run by enthusiasts. So the guys who loved the music, who couldn't play the music, ended up starting the editing the magazines and putting on the radio shows and promoting gigs. And because of that, it's never really been a professional industry. And as a music culture, I mean, Britain's now changing for the new generation, which is great. But for a long time, it's been a little bit complacently sitting on its laurels, and its grassroots musical culture has suffered a little bit. It was more karaoke and sports in bars than bands who were killing it. And that's changing now, thankfully. But for most of my life, Britain was always representing that to me, and so I always wanted to go places where people dance on tables in the local bars, and the standard of the local bands is great. There's compatriotism amongst the local musicians. And,